Joined right now by a 14-year NFL safety, a Super Bowl champion, a 3-time Pro Bowler, author of Bet on Yourself, Inside the Mind of the Ultimate Underdog, co-host of the Man to Man Pod, Antoine Bethea is my guest. Antoine, good to have you back. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, dude. Good. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. Let me ask you about last night's game. First and foremost, bottom line this for me, Antoine. Are the Cowboys that good, or are the Bucs just that bad?
Man, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. And, watching the game last night, I actually took the Bucs just, looking at the last regular season game between, the Cowboys and the Commanders, and the Cowboys didn't look good at all. But last night, man, they was clicking on all cylinders. And, I guess I have to say, the Cowboys are that good. They came out on both sides of the ball. And played an exceptional game, and just seemed like, the Bucs were just behind the 8 ball from the start of the game on both sides of the ball. So I'll tip my hat off to the Cowboys and say they just played a hell of a game.
I see it the same way, and I could see the argument for Tampa Bay, too, based on the way Dallas played at the end of the year. I mean, does that performance in and of itself stamp the Cowboys as legitimate title contenders in your mind?
I think so. If Dak can take care of the ball the way he did, and make plays and get the ball in his playmakers' hands, and then obviously the defense, Michael Parsons and company, getting after the quarterback. If they can continue to do that, they have a good shot.
Antoine Bethea joining us. I also made that point, Antoine, last night, that they're a totally different team when Dak is not throwing it to the other team. He had a huge game, man. He had a great game last night, arguably his best game ever. What was the biggest difference for him last night compared to recent weeks?
Sitting back and watching it on TV, it just seems like he was very decisive of where he was going to go with the ball. And I think that's key for a quarterback, knowing where you're going to go. You're not second-guessing yourself. And, just having confidence. I think whenever you're playing on the field, when you're playing confident, you play better. And that's what it looked like Dak was doing last night, playing with a high level of confidence.
Antoine Bethea, co-host of the Man to Man Pod, 14 years in the NFL, a Super Bowl champion. So where do you think that leaves Tom Brady? I mean, no way he goes out like that, right?
Man, you never know. Obviously the past couple of years, he retired, come back, and then it's just a lot of talk. I would say, hey man, you had a hell of a run. A hell of a run. Obviously, you don't want to go out like that, but in my mind, I say, what else is there to do? One of the greatest quarterback, if not the greatest quarterback to play the game. I know you got a lot of stuff, on the other side that's waiting on him. But, again, man, we may be surprised. He may be elsewhere. Obviously, a lot of talks about that, but I think the time in Tampa Bay might be done.
Yeah, I think his time in Tampa Bay absolutely is done. I mean, why would he go back? For who? For what? I just don't think that his time is done. I tend to see it your way. I'm pretty loose with this guy's career and life and legacy. I mean, do what you want, dude. You're the GOAT. But it seems to me, I don't think he wants to go, but I think that he should. Why not walk and just move off on it or walk off on it? But guys are addicted to it and the life, and who knows? I tend to see it your way. Let me, Antoine, go to another topic. The Ravens gave the Bengals hell before they came up just short, and they did it without Lamar Jackson on the field or even in the building. So what do you think the Ravens do with Lamar now? I mean, do they franchise him? Do they give him the deal that he wants? Or maybe would they try to move on without him?
Man, if I'm the Ravens, I'm sitting Lamar down at the table, and we have to come to an agreement. Again, this is the big business. And, when I'm talking to different people about this topic, and, they obviously some people feel a certain type of way about Lamar's decision, and I respect his decision. At the end of the day, this is a business. The teams, they're going to do what's perfect and what works for them 100% of the time. Not 95% of the time, but 100% of the time. And players, we got to do the same. And I think he did that. Again, not knowing what the diagnosis was of his knee, but I think the Ravens and Lamar, they have to sit down. They have to come to an agreement. That Baltimore Ravens team is a totally different team without Lamar Jackson playing the quarterback position. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what you want to say about Lamar, but that Baltimore Ravens, that team is just a different team without Lamar.
So, Antoine, we're not privy to what's going on. We don't know exactly what's been said. We don't know the extent of whatever damage has been done to the relationship. Is there any doubt in your mind that they can just come together? Like, if they go into a room and they're determined to get that deal done, that it will get done? Or do you think there's been some pretty significant damage in the relationship that might prevent that from happening?
I think, in my personal opinion, I feel as though Lamar and his team and the Baltimore Ravens, they can get a deal done if they both want to. And that's the thing. You're going to have to it's going to be some compromise there, but I think it's ways that you can get it done. Obviously, when you talk about negotiations, some things are going to be said that, both sides are not going to like, but the betterment of, the Baltimore Ravens organization, obviously Lamar said, he wants to be there. It can't get done if they both see to it.
We're talking to Antoine Bethea for a few more moments. What do you make of Brock Purdy and the Niners? Have you seen enough of this guy to say, you know what, man, this dude can win a Super Bowl with that particular team, or is that still too big of an ask for a young guy despite how well he's playing?
Nah, man, I don't think it's too big of an ask. At this point in time, the games that he's played, he's getting it done. He's getting it done. Obviously, you can look at, the coaches, the supporting cast that he has, the defense, the way the defense is playing, the way special teams is playing. He's being able to just come into the system and do what he needs to do. He's not overcompensating. He's not trying to be the hero. He's just going out there and doing his job. And I appreciate the fact that, being the third-string quarterback, man, and having his number called, and he's being ready for his opportunity, and he's taking full advantage of that. So the way the San Francisco 49ers are playing, they're looking good as well. We talked about the Cowboys earlier. You got the 49ers, man, but he's making himself some money, even though he's still on that rookie contract, man. He's playing lights out right now.
It's incredible how well he's playing. Antoine, so how much work have you done? I know you're always on it, but how much work have you done for next weekend's games? In other words, any early thoughts? Do you see any value in any of the dogs? Do you like a possible upset or two? What do you think about the games coming up?
Man, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is.
So I would say, with the San Francisco and Dallas game, right now, if I had to call it, I would lean towards San Francisco. Again, just this last 3 quarters of the season, man, just the way they've been playing lights out. But again, looking at Dallas last night, it's going to be a tough matchup. So, but I'll definitely be leaning towards the Niners. And then the other NFC matchup, you got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Giants. Again, NFC East matchup, third time playing. I know it's going to be tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. The Giants playing very, very, very confident. As I said earlier, when you're playing with confidence, your play is just all around just better. I think I'm gonna lean with Philly on that one. I'm gonna lean with Philly on that one. So I don't see any dogs in the NFC, in the AFC. We got the Jags, man. I kind of called the Jags for them to have a good year this year, but I think it might end this week. It might end this week, but what the Jags have been able to do, man, is exceptional. And I think one of the games that we'll all be looking at is the Buffalo Bills and the Bengals. Two good quarterbacks. I think both of those quarterbacks and those teams didn't play as well as people probably expected them to. So I think I'm gonna go with Cincinnati in that one, though.
First of all, I love the breakdowns. Bengals +5, the last I saw. What do you think? Antoine, I'm big on Lou Anarumo and his defense. I thought the Bengals defense had a lot of trouble. What was going on with them defensively? And are there any concerns for you on that side of the ball?
Man, I think obviously they're going to go back and look at film. Again, it's tough, watching the game as far as, what's going on, some miscommunication. Obviously, I think with the defense, the best thing is for everybody to be on the same page. But again, they've done some good things this year. He's been leading that defense, and they've been able to help that team get to where they at. I think some concerns as far as the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. Early in the year they had some concerns. They tightened it up a little bit. mid-season and towards later of the season. But with, left tackle might being out, you can put some, circle that as far as potentially being a problem. But it's going to be a good game, man. Joe Burrow, great young quarterback, Joe Cool, man. So, again, I think I'm going to lean with the Bengals.
I get that. I love Joe Cool. One last thought. Antoine, did you see Joey Bosa go in on the officials? Have you seen that video or heard that audio? I mean, he just lit these dudes on fire, and that was after a long cool-down period. Is he right, and is the officiating that big of an issue right now?
Man, the officiating, it does have to be addressed. I know they go through their preseason training as far as things to be the focal points of the season, but it has to be addressed. Where players, when the players on the field make mistakes, whether it's a penalty, whether it's whatever the case may be, they either get fined for it or, it's talked about. And we talk about the shield and protecting the shield. The referees are part of that, so they got to be held accountable. Just like everybody else, coaches involved, front office, everybody has to be held to a high standard because this is the NFL shield. And, I don't think Bosa was wrong being able to express the way he felt about the refs. Obviously, there's been some questionable calls during the year and in the playoffs. So, hey, voice your opinion. Voice your opinion. So, but the refs do need to be held accountable.
He is a 14-year NFL safety, a Super Bowl champion. He's got 3 rings. He is the author of Bet on Yourself Inside the Mind of the Ultimate Underdog, co-host of an excellent pod, the Man to Man pod, Antoine Bethea, closing the show for me. Antoine, appreciate you, AB. Thank you very much. Great to have you back on. Always good to talk to you.
Man, appreciate you. Take care.
Appreciate you, dude. Be good.